And we're back for part 2. All right. So, you guys, we are looking at, let's see, I believe, okay, yeah, so we left off on this problem. Okay, so on the last slide, we had done, sorry, I just need to double check. -7. Okay, so we did that last example together. Wait a second. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, all right. Sorry, just double checking. Okay, so we got one more example to do together on this, and then we've got a word problem, and I'm gonna kind of let you guys work on the extra examples on your own. So again, I really encourage you guys, let's do that AC split. Okay, so we're taking A times C, so that's negative 4x squared times 5, so that gives us negative 20x squared. And then down in here, you put that b value, so that's negative 8x. We want to find our factors of negative 20x squared. That'll give us negative 8x. So that would be like 1 and 20. Let's see, let's write that twice. So that'd be negative. We'd have 2 and 10. Okay. Let's see. And then 4 and 5 would be our other ones. 4 and 5. One's got to be negative, one's got to be positive. Okay, so just looking, we should be using this one right here. So that would be 2x and negative 10x. So now we're going to take and we are going to break up that b value, so that negative 8x. So we've got negative 4x squared, and then that's going to turn into 2x, and then negative 10x, and plus 5. And again, like I said on the other video, guys, if you flip that 10x and 2x, that's totally fine. You will come up with the exact same solution that I do in this example. Okay, but let's go ahead. Now we've got to do that grouping piece. So group the first two, group the last two. I'm going to take out a factor of 2x here. And actually, I'm going to do negative 2x because I don't want this first term to be negative. Just because it makes things a little bit tougher. So I'm going to take out a negative 2x. Once I take out that negative 2x, I'm left with 2x plus 1. Actually, 2x minus 1 because I took out that negative. So that'd be 2x minus 1. And then here in this back part, I'm going to again take out a negative, let's see, 5. Because then that'll give me 2x minus 1. Because again, I want to get that same term 2 times. So then I'm left with negative 2x minus 5. So that's one of them. And then I've also got 2x minus 1. And just as an extra step, you guys, here's what we want to do. Since both of these are negative, since that 2 and 5 are both negative, what we're going to do is we're just going to factor out a negative 1. So then I'm going to leave this as 2x plus 5, and then I'm going to leave that as 2x minus 1. And I really don't think you need the 1 there. I don't think your book is going to need you to do that. So in the end, our solution comes out to be negative. And then our first binomial is 2x plus 5. And our second binomial is 2x minus 1. Okay, so here's what I want from you. I want you to try these 6. These 6 are on your note packet. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I forgot to put examples like this last one that we just did on your note packet. So please, I mean, just take an extra sheet of paper, or even like on the back of your note packet on the next page, even off to the left-hand side where it says questions, or if you want to go like halfway down, just do those next 3 on the back half of this so that you've got them. Because these three are the examples of the ones that we just got done doing, the example we just finished, where you've got that A term is negative. Okay, so take a couple minutes, and it's going to take a couple minutes, you guys, and that's okay. But take a couple minutes, try these 9 problems. I'm going to end with this down here so that you can get these 3, 7, 8, and 9 written down and try them. So pause the video, try them, and then when you press play, it'll take a second, but we're going to go on to the next slide. All right. Or, I mean, I'll show you the solutions. That's really what I meant. Alrighty, I'm back. So I know there's not a ton of room here, you guys. I'm sorry, I apologize. I will make that adjustment for next year. But here's what we should get. So for the first one, number 1, you should have 8 times x minus 6 times x minus 1. For the second example, you should come up with 7x plus 5 and then 2x plus 3. For the third example, it should be 2x minus 1 and x minus 1. For example 4, you should come up with x minus 4 times 3x minus 2. For the fifth example, x minus 5 times 4x plus 1. For the sixth example, it should be 2x plus 3 and 3x minus 4. And then on the bottom 3, I didn't show any work here, so if you have any questions, just come up to me on Monday. I will show you all of the work. If you got anything wrong or you're not totally sure where you went wrong, just let me know. We can go through it together. And then, so like I said, these last 3 are the examples, just like that negative 4x squared minus 8x plus 5. Okay, we're almost there. We just have the word problem left, and then we will be good to go. Okay, so here's what we have. A length of a rectangular game reserve is 1 mile longer than twice the width. The area of the reserve is 55 square miles. What is the width of the reserve? Okay, so first off, they talk about area. We know that area is length times width. Okay, now here's a couple of things that we know right off the bat. We know that the area is 55 square miles. Okay, we also know that the length, okay, so since that's the length, I'm going to, no, maybe I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna just rearrange these. We know that the length is 1 mile longer than twice the width. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write down W for width, and then my length, I'm going to set it up as it's 1 mile longer than twice the width. Okay, now this is just going to kind of take on the same shape as what we did in the word problem in 7-5. So we like foiled everything together, we multiplied everything together, and then we ended up bringing the area back over to the other side and then factoring it again. It's a similar process, you guys. Let's distribute this W through. So that's 2W squared plus W equals 55. The only way that that zero product property process is going to work is if, whoopsies, is if we have 0 over here on the other side, so we have to subtract 55 from both sides, leaving us with 2W squared plus W minus 55. So now from here, again, let's do that AC split. So I'm going to do 2W squared times negative 55, which gives us negative 110 W squared. And then down here in the bottom, I'm going to write down W. So basically, we're trying to find those factors of negative 110W, that will give us W. And if I take my calculator and I do 110 divided by 2, that's going to give me 55. Okay, so that's not going to work. If I do 110 divided by, let's see what'll work next. 3 doesn't work. 4 doesn't work either. 5 works, but it's 5 and 22. So that's not going to work. I want something that's just a little bit closer together. So let's see. 6 isn't going to work. 7's not going to work. 8's not going to work either. 9's not going to work. But 10 will. So if I take 110 divided by 10, that's going to give me 10W and 11W. And then I know that since this is positive W, I want the 11 to be positive and the 10 to be negative. So let's break this W up. So now I've got 2W squared minus 10W plus 11W minus 55. So now from here, I'm just going to, again, do that grouping. First two, last two. Okay, so I wanted to group the first two and the last two together. Now I'm going to try and take out that factor. So I'm going to take out in this first one, I'm going to do a 2W. So then I'm going to be left with W minus 5. And then back here, I'm going to take out an 11. So that's plus 11. So then that's going to be W minus 5 again. Okay, so then my factors, I've got W minus 5 times 2W plus 11. So now with that zero product property that we've talked a lot about the last couple of days, I can take this W minus 5, set it equal to 0, and then 2W plus 11, set that equal to 0, and then just solve. So let's take this one, let's add 5 to both sides. And then for this one's going to be a two-stepper, so I have to subtract 11. That's going to equal negative 11 divided by 2. So W equals negative 11 halves, or 5.5. Again, doesn't really matter. But let's talk about the context of this problem. We are talking about the length of a game reserve. A length of the game reserve, and it's in square miles. You guys, does it make sense for us to have a negative length, like negative 11 halves or negative 5.5? Hopefully you guys are all shaking your heads really, really largely at me and saying, no, Mrs. K, that doesn't make sense, because it doesn't. So this answer doesn't even make sense. So that just leaves us with 5 miles is going to be the width of that game reserve. All right, sorry that these videos are getting a little bit longer. There's just a lot of material and a lot of content to cover in them. So as long as you get these watched, and then tomorrow or Monday or whatever, we're going to talk about them. We're going to go through, maybe we'll go through an example or two just to get ourselves refreshed. And then we will, again, have that homework time. So have a great weekend, or I will see you tomorrow. Either way, I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you soon.